Welcome to Goalie Science, the podcast that bridges the gap between goaltending, science, and peak performance. I'm your host, Jamie Phillips, a former professional goalie, currently pursuing a doctorate in physical therapy and specializing in goalie performance coaching. Joining me as always is Dr. Ben Cernick, a seasoned goalie coach and sports analytics specialist. Whether you find yourself at home, on the road, or at the rink, grab a cup of your favorite beverage and let's drop the puck on this week's episode.
Hello, everyone. You probably are just the first ones to listen to Jamie's brand new introduction, which as of this exact moment, I haven't even fully heard. But I know it's good, Jamie. Tell me it's good.
I know. So because I prefaced what do you think, and then you gave me edits, and then I didn't listen to any of the edits. I made it my way.
That's what I wanted to hear.
We have an intro now, so are we? Some are saying we're a real podcast. Maybe working our way to the top 50 hockey podcasts.
Jamie, we're getting dangerously close to our 1-year anniversary episode, actually.
Next week.
Yeah. Either 1 week or 2 weeks. Either way, it's coming up.
Yeah.
Counting's hard, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, I'm excited. We'll have to do a big hurrah. And by that, I mean, we'll probably talk about something not.
Well, we do have a sort of tentative first in-person pod together. It took us over a year, but we might have one in September. So I'm excited that shirts will be on. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
I think this actually at this point in my life, let's keep it simple.
We don't exercise enough as much as we used to have to keep our shirts on. But good to have you back. A couple of weeks of just carrying the boats, as David Goggins once said.
I got a lot of feedback. People reaching out to me saying, Ben, we miss you. You carry this podcast week after week. And so that felt nice to get that response. So to all of you who reached out to me, you know who you are. Thank you. That meant the world to me. But I did listen. I was a listener for the past few weeks. I loved both episodes. I thought former coach Derek Bujin does a great job as always. I think I always learn something when I hear Derek talk about what he's thinking. I also always find myself kind of disagreeing with some stuff. So it's good. It's healthy. It's mentally stimulating. And then I thought Max's interview and Max's story was really interesting. I also was so thrown off by how amazing his English is. And I felt like really bad about myself.
Yeah, his English. It's funny. We talked about that too in terms of some of the words he was using. Most native English speakers wouldn't use.
Yeah.
Again, like going to Europe makes you feel like such a peasant, like growing up in North America, where maybe you speak English and French or English and Spanish. Max speaks Finnish, Swedish, Spanish, English, French, and a little bit of like South African.
You said he grew up here.
And then, did I say Spanish? I like a little bit of German. And I'm just like, I'm a loser. I'm a loser.
Yeah, I was, like I said, I was just caught so off guard. I'd never heard of this before. I was so impressed. I was like, this is one, a really, really smart person. And two, I'm always just so impressed by, again, like I didn't even hear an accent. I was like, wow. Yeah, that's the product of being in a bunch of different environments and growing up and living in a whole bunch of different places, right?
Yeah, no, his English is top tier. So it was good to have him on. I was glad to get that. And I need to interview Mo. I need to finish the trifecta of Michigan Tech goalies. But I gotta set some up. I want to have you on the podcast. There's two goalie coaches. One of those one of the bigger ones in Finland. We'll save it. A little bit of preview on it. Wouldn't be a surprise. But I like to have you on because just to ask your questions. Otherwise, it's me just talking about nonsense. You tend.
It's you trying to imagine the questions I'd be asking, right?
Yeah. I just like Chat GPT. You are Ben Cernick. What questions would you ask?
Yeah. Speaking of questions, I would ask Jamie some questions that I wanted to ask this week to you. We wanted to talk a little bit about. We thought this would be kind of it's in the summer, and winding down at the end of the summer. Not that much hockey stuff's happening. Some people get ready into their junior camps. I think most people are kind of doing, who are in junior hockey, are doing their junior preseason exhibition games.
Well, if you're Fox Motors AAA, you started playing games last weekend, regular season games already.
My teams are just an exhibition games. So my minor hockey team and
Well, to be fair, U.S. like America schools start.
Yeah,
A lot of times schools started like 2 weeks ago for a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, so things happen a little bit earlier down here, as they say.
You're getting started.
Yeah,
Well, minor hockey in that case too, but definitely this week we wanted to talk about some interesting stories that we had once we kind of got into junior hockey, once we got out of minor hockey. For those who have been listening for a while know that me and Jamie took very different paths to ultimately end up in this same video call. So here we are. But we kind of want to share we thought some funny stories, some lighthearted stories, just something to kind of keep us in a good mood as people are getting ready for the start of the season and getting ready for kind of going through those junior main camps and exhibition games. So Jamie, do you want to go first, or you want me to take charge with just kind of like a good funny story?
You know what? You can kick us off. I think the junior hockey stories is a good one too, because junior training camps are coming up. For some listeners, they're already in juniors, or in a year or two are going to get there, or maybe they just don't know what they're going to expect. I was actually on a call with a goalie earlier, and he's getting the opportunity to practice for the junior club, and like, what does that mean, and kind of how crazy it is. And also, what I think is crazy is that a lot of these tier 3 leagues in the United States carry 4+ goalies, and that's a lot of goalies.
Oh, Jamie, just no comments. No comments.
Let's keep things on a lighter note. Ben, why don't you kick us off? Like, what's one of the stories that you have that basically defines junior hockey for you?
So, I have this really impressive ability. For those who heard and listen, I actually only played 1 year of junior. I somehow avoided junior hockey for a long time. I did everything but include playing college. So I kind of avoided it for a while. But when I got into junior, I had this amazing ability to let in goals from the other end of the ice, which normally you think is probably not a good skill to have. But I was reminded of this one. Jamie, you had mentioned, you were talking, I think it was you were in your interview with Derek Buja, and you were talking about how there was a goal you let in where you just lost a puck in purple seats. Well, Jamie, we played actually, funny enough, very different times, but in the same junior league, the same division, just for different teams. And
I wouldn't say I played, but I was there.
Well, I played. I played many.
Yes, you did.
But I'm not sure if you remember the old Jack Arena in St. Catharines, like where the Ice Dogs first played, and that rink is a pretty decent sized bowl, but for whatever reason, the opposing seats on the opposite side of the home goalie are dark green and dark blue.
Oh, I remember that.
And so if you're the home goalie, well, the away goalie only gets it for 1 period, but if you were the home goalie, and not always the most fans behind the other team's goalie, sometimes you would just never, if the puck went in above the dasher, you just never saw it. And you were just praying you could kind of pick it up out of there. And so I remember this story, and this is a bit of a shout to Derek Bujan too, but we're playing in a playoff game. It's the elimination game, like game 5. I think we're up 3-1 in the series, and the game's like 5-1. So we're coasting, right? It's like, we're good. We're good to go. We're gonna win. And a guy steps over. He steps over his own blue line, puts a puck straight into the dasher, and all I hear is ding, bar down, far blue line. Which, it made it 5-2. We ended up winning the game like 6-3 or something. And Derek was pretty funny afterwards. He didn't actually care. He was like, that's one of the worst goals I've ever seen in my entire life. I said, thank you. And it wouldn't have been that bad had I not let in a goal earlier that season from the far end of the ice. The other team iced the puck, and it was like a clear icing. I was like, okay, like whatever. Everyone knows that. It was like clear icing, whatever. You'll like go stop the puck, give it to the ref, be a good guy, right? Like try to make their leg easy. So clear icing. So I kind of just like hop out, thinking in my head, play the puck, have it in my feet. I'm like kicking it around, and a guy just comes flying out of nowhere and pokes at my feet. And apparently the ice had not wiped. So just 2 separate instances, which is impressive considering those were only like 20 physical games apart. And I'm not sure many junior goalies can say that they let in 2 goals from the other side of half in a single season. Jamie, your thoughts?
Not good. Not what we're looking for. that actually reminds me. It would be a pre-junior story. So like minor midget AAA. So now they call that U16.
Yeah.
They had a essential scouting for the OHL. I cannot remember his name.
Is it Rob Kitamura back then?
That's exactly who it was.
Nice.
And
2 points.
anyways, we were playing in Burlington, and I right off the face-off, they won it and shot it in first shot on me. And from right there, he did not like me, obviously, given the quality of the goal I gave up. Also told our head coach that I needed glasses and I should get my eyes checked. So I probably wasn't going to go play in the OHL after that. Somehow it got drafted, but
Fourth round,
pretty good. I'm trying to think of junior stories. I didn't really have any major ones from my time in the Goj, just because I didn't play enough.
Jimmy, was the starting goalie in Brantford for you Bryce O'Hagan?
No, it was not. It was Daryl Borden.
Oh, I always thought it was Bryce.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Bryce. I think Bryce. What year is Bryce?
90.
Borden. So when I was 16, the 89s were the overagers. But yeah, he must
have played the year after because he went up and for those who don't know, Bryce O'Hagan, Canada Ontario U17 goalie, Canada U18 goalie, 5-year OHL guy, 4-year OHL goalie. And then went to the university that I played at, Ontario Tech, played 1 season, was an all-Canadian, and then didn't play again. Like, actually, like, such a good goalie. Anyways.
And now he's a really good goalie coach.
Too, good show. That's what I've heard too. So
Bryce for that. Well, yeah, not many stories. I think one of the biggest, I know Derek gave one of the good ones away, but that's better for, his point of view. But I think managing and understanding just like when you get to junior, kind of all bets are off. And at least they were back in the day in terms of what the things coaches would say and do to you. I remember well, it's always great when you don't play well and you get pulled and then the coach comes in and yells at you and tells you that the elephant in the room and why you're losing is all your fault. I remember one time we had a Christmas tournament and we were playing against, I think it was Hawkesbury. And so we weren't like we were a really good team. We obviously won the RBC Cup that year and they were not a great team, but we went out and played, and I think they scored 2 goals in the first. I can't remember. I remember one of the goals was like a one-timer from the slot. I can't remember the other one, but I remember Sheldon Keefe came in, and he I thought everything was fine. Like, we're only down like 2-1 or 2-0. Like, we'll be okay. And he came in and he said, he's just like, if you give up one more goal, don't even look at the bench. Just skate off the ice, get undressed, and get on the car with your parents and go home. Because my parents had come out to watch. And he said, and they hit 3 more posts the rest of that game. Didn't score, but holy crap, was I so scared and so nervous. Like, I thought that was it. Like, I thought, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I couldn't focus one bit.
Jamie, do you think that the reason you didn't let any goals was because you were just so motivated, actually? Because that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that was just great motivation tactics, and you felt very happy to play. Am I right?
No, I sit around now and I'm like, hey, like, gee, why did you develop so much anxiety? And it's like, oh, maybe that had to do with it. All the little things that add up. There's just like so many things. Once we were watching the game tape, and I made a save. It hit my glove, bounced out, and then the play continued, broke out of the zone, came back in, and then they scored. And then he would play the video of the save and then rewind it. But not the goal. It just the puck hit in my glove. And then proceeded to yell at me saying, if I just caught the puck, none of this would have happened. And he's not wrong about it, but also we broke out of the zone. So yeah. And so that kind of stuff I think was
those always feel like a statute of limitations thing. Like, if you make a save and you have kind of a bad rebound, if the play continues for 4 minutes without a whistle and then it goes in, we've probably reached
Unless it was like a belly trap you misplayed and the puck never left the zone.
Yeah.
I think as soon as the puck leaves the zone, that statute of limitations, like
There's probably like if the puck changes possessions 4 times, I think there's probably I think we could probably forgive the goalie, right? I think we could probably relax.
It's no longer your fault. I'm trying to think. I think when I played out west in BC, our bus did not have a working toilet on it.
Oh.
And we had some long bus rides, like from Powell River to like Merritt or like Salmon Arm. We didn't go to PG that year, but we had some like 11, 12-hour bus rides. And all I can say is I'm glad I wasn't a rookie. And yeah, you really had to manage your fluid and food intake. Not ideal, but the BC mountains though, worth it.
Beautiful, gorgeous,
very beautiful. Yeah, I think
that's the independent BC UJ.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess we talked about getting someone on. I need to put that on my to-do list to get someone to talk about that league. Okay, I had 2 stories. What about you? Anything else? What you got?
I was gonna kind of flip the script because I'm always a little concerned. We laugh about stories now, and we kind of talked about a few stories from our days in college and junior or 2. But it's always funny to look back at these and laugh and be okay with them now. But it's, this is also the one every time we do a story episode. This is the PSA to kids and parents and coaches and players. Like, we can be a little bit better in our communication styles with people. And especially as goalie people, very rarely, I find after a certain age, does a goalie not realize that goal's their fault or a series of goals are that fault. I would honestly say that if you get to a certain level and a certain age and people don't think goals are their fault, that's a red flag more so than the need to, right? So if you're a coach or parent and you feel like your coaches really come at you that way, and you already are aware of the bad goals you're letting in, okay, that's, that might be a conversation. Hopefully communication can improve. But also, the onus is on us as goalies to identify when stuff is our fault as well. But this does lead into what I want to talk about. Is I actually think, Jamie, you and I can talk a little bit of onus about some stuff that actually went well. Like, I think there's actually we probably had some good moments. Shockingly, and I said this before, I had a good coach moment when I was playing. And I'm happy talking about this. I was playing fall hockey. So if when you go play down in prep school in the US, you play 2 seasons. You play 1 season with like kind of a bit of a super team, and then you play your other season for your school. And my first year down there, our super team was pretty good. We were a U18 team, or maybe technically called U19, I guess. I don't know how it really works. But we had like 6 or 7 NHL draft picks on our team, which is like when you think about a U18 AAA team. Pretty good. We didn't lose a game for our first 20. That was kind of fun. Our next year, we did not have that many draft picks. In fact, I think we had 1. So we lost a bunch of those guys. But I remember that we played this team that had like 15 or 16 Division I commits. So again, a preposterous U18 AAA team that had like 15 or 16 D1 guys on it. And we played them 7 times. I played them 7 times, and I went 0-7. But I remember this one game we lost like 2-1 in a semifinal of a tournament. Like, we're in a tournament, and for whatever reason we run into this team again. They're already in our league. We already play them a bunch, and we just run them or whatever. And we lose 2-1. And I think we've all been there as goalies where like you're sitting there, you're wondering like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I cannot beat this team, right? Like, I'm doing my best. And I just sat there, and this coach came up to me, and he just looks at me, and he goes, "What are you possibly sad about?" And I was like, "What do you mean? This is me. I'm turning 19 at the time, so I've already been told by some other coaches they don't like me very much. So I already have a pretty strong feeling of myself in that." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, we lost. Like, I can't beat. Like, I'm at this point, it was like the 5th time I lost them that year." And he goes, "Yeah, but wasn't that a great game?" And I just kind of looked at him. And I like didn't know what to say. And he goes, "Wasn't that one hell of an effing game though?" And I was talking with my fiance last week about that. And I won a bunch of tournaments with those super teams. I don't really care about any of those. That's like still one of my favorite memories from playing for those teams, was a coach that like could actually appreciate that like someone does lose in a hockey game. Right. So I want to give a shout out to that story, because I thought that was nice. You know, like it's something I still think about, where it's like, I thought I played pretty well. The team actually did play pretty well. Sometimes you just lose games 2-1, right? Like hockey's a game full of variance. So I thought, Jimmy, I thought we'd mix it up with actually a positive story.
I'll be honest, I have to rake my brain quite a bit for some positive stories.
I know, which is terrifying to me. I hope you know that.
Which isn't good. It's not healthy.
This is an important question, actually, Jamie. No, this kind of takes the story down the other direction. That's obviously a positive story about a game we've lost. Think about how much we kind of always focus on the positives associated only with winning. Like, yeah, a lot of the positive stories I can think about are celebrating after wins. Don't get me wrong, winning's great. Like, winning, very good. I think, in fact, it's the point of the game most of the time. But at the same time, I think there's value in growth, especially when you're dealing in junior hockey and minor hockey, where the point of that is still development, right? For the most part, I'd say.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm trying to think. It's tough for me to even think, because I have so many, like, the only ones that stick out are like the negative ones, or like the stories that like I can't say on podcasts.
Jamie, did anyone ever tell you they were proud of you? Should I start telling you that I'm proud of you?
Yeah, I mean, my dad did, but none of my coaches that I played junior did. One of the funny, I definitely been a part of 2 buses catching on fire in junior hockey. Yeah, and having to wholesale the gear out of the bottom. Never like full blown in flames, but enough where we had to stop on the side of the highway and pull everything out. Not good. Most of the funny stories are like riding in the buses. Just trying to think.
Playing in BC is also a big thing. This is a funny story. The junior team that I work for, only like one team is far enough away to justify having a bus. So not a lot of bus trips for the team that I work with. Last year, and I don't know, your bus is caught on fire. Last year, one of the bus drivers just backed up straight into a pole, just like full steam, leaving the parking lot into the pole. And I think that really sets the tone for a game when we can't quite get out of the parking lot. I'm not even sure if we won that game, but like the bus incident, beyond the bus is fun. I mean, like even the junior team I played on, bus trips were way shorter than my prep school bus trips. Those are pretty long. And then for when I was playing in college, same as you, like, you had to fly sometimes. But we had like 10, 12-hour bus trips in college. So those are, I don't know if those are fun, Jamie. I'm not sure I'll ever call them fun.
No, I actually enjoyed. Well, once I was done with school, I didn't have anything to like really think about or worry about, so I didn't mind the bus trips. I remember, when I was playing on a team, the head coach was part of like the World Junior A Challenge, and so I don't know if Hockey Canada still has this rule, but at one point when like cell phones still weren't as popular, they had a rule where it was like no cell phones like 6 hours before game time, and so they would take our phones. And so our coach took it to the extreme where it was no cell phones like 12 hours before. And so that's not fun when you have to sit on a bus for 12 hours. What are you supposed to do? Read? Talk to your parents? Listen to music? So that was very, very frustrating. I think when we played in BC, because we were in Powell River and us getting home or 2 games was dictated by the ferries. The ferries stop at night. I don't know what the time is, like 9 or 10 is the last ferry out. So after every road game, we'd have to stay in like Langley area. I think it would be Langley, at the Sandman Hotel. I don't know, it's still kicking probably. And we would eat at Ye Olde Spaghetti Factory. So that not only would be our pregame, but it'd be our post game, and then the dinner we'd have to have when we're waiting for the ferries, and it would always be a set menu. Like it was never we didn't order. And there's a reason I don't eat pasta anymore, because I had so much pasta and that like what's that like kind of that red soup, minestrone soup,
Minestrone? Yeah, yeah.
minestrone soup,
Vegetables.
and don't mind the old timey alarm clock. Like it's not at home at the moment, but minestrone soup all like 10 times a week ish.
Oh,
The same man, the same
oh.
one. Were you ever shoe checked in junior?
I never got shoe checked, actually. I never got shoe checked in junior. I never got shoe checked in boarding school, and I never got shoe checked in college. I survived my entire playing career without getting shoe checked.
Good for you. I got shoe checked, and I can't remember what I sang, but I do not have a singing voice, and I had to do it in front of. I've been shoe checked twice,
Yeah.
and it's been incredibly embarrassing. For those that don't know, shoe check is when a teammate crawls under the table while you're at dinner with a knife full of butter, and
Just so much butter. Like,
we'll
so
put
much
the
butter.
butter. Typically, it's on your dress shoes,
Mhm.
and then everyone will tap their glasses like at a wedding when you want the bride and groom to kiss, and then you look down to see who's got the butter on their shoe, and if it's you, you have to stand up on your chair and sing in front of the entire restaurant. So yeah, that was one of the ones that I can't remember what I sang, but I wish I had a good singing voice, but I also never like gone to the table. I realized early on that if I didn't want to get shoe checked, I wouldn't just don't be involved in any of those activities. And
Yeah.
the chances of you getting shoe checked are lower, not zero, but lower.
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some place. You gotta stay vigilant when you're at team dinner, and that's some good advice for everyone. Is be aware of your surroundings. Don't relax at dinner.
Yeah,
Or
no, you should
whatever it
never,
is, you need to be on alert. Keep your eyes on the two people who you trust least on the team, because they're the ones probably on the team.
or
There's always every team's got one. Every team's
or
got a
you
guy.
sit with your feet under the chair, not under the table.
Yeah, that's a veteran move too. Jimmy, I was going to ask you this one. This is a bit of a side. This reminded me of that, of getting shoe checked. And part of junior hockey, and I think this is shifting like largely to a better place than it would have been when we were younger, which I think is like the idea of quote unquote rookie party. I think that is improving. I think we are moving away from like traditional hazing. I hope we're moving away from traditional hazing. Really hope, fingers crossed, to a more like inclusive, just like it's a team party rather than, the antics of olden days, we'll call that. But when I was playing junior, I just come back from playing in college and at Colby College. And there was a big debate, heated debate on our team. We had one rookie, and then me. And so the team was like, you're a rookie. And I sat there looking at them, and, I just turned 21, and I was like, do not in any way, shape, or form try anything. Well, what's your vote on that now? Already played in college, but hadn't played a game with junior. Is that rookie?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a pickle, right?
I don't know what that would be. That is a good question. I would say no. I give you the benefit of the doubt and say you're not a rookie, although probably are a rookie though.
But imagine this. This is what I said. Now, this was at the time. Keep in mind, I was 20 or 21, and looking back on it, this is a preposterous thing to say. But I think my comparison was like, if a player starts in the NHL and then goes to the AHL, are they a rookie? If they played a game in the NHL before they played a game in the AHL, are they an AHL rookie?
That's a good argument. I'll give you that one. That is a good argument. So based on that, I would say no.
That's what
You would not be a rookie. Yeah, rookie parties. I hope, for the sake of the children, that it's different. I've been a rookie twice, junior B and junior A. Like I said, can't tell any of those stories because obvious reasons. I don't know when the statute of limitations ends, but I'm sure it has not, but yet.
It's more just like, I mean, and again, I'm always fine saying this, sorry I'm cutting you off, but I'm always saying that, like, historically, hockey culture has been far from perfect. And I think that's important to always point out that, like, it should be striving to be much, much, much better than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. So I was treated really well.
And rookie parties are like fun.
Yeah,
and they're not
actually fun.
They're not like pure hazing, or it's like, everyone's doing silly things and not like serious life damaging things that we
Yeah.
just have to do. That kind of really, not really, just it sucks a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that the game is changing. I know in college they're very, very, very,
Very strict about it. Yeah.
very strict.
And they should be. And they should be.
Yeah, as they 100% should be. And I know some people are like, "Oh, the game's getting soft," but like, yeah, there's a difference between like fun banter and things, and then like
Yeah.
full blown like illegal,
It's hazing. Call it what it is, right? Like,
full blown like hazing. That's not good.
no.
Oh man, I did have another story. It slipped my brain. What were we talking about before
Before I cut you off,
you cut me off?
it was just we had shoe checks. Getting, am I a rookie?
Yeah, shoe checks. Was it building of shoe checks? I can't remember.
Oh boy.
Junior hockey was just like such a blur. Like my thing is I couldn't wait to get out of junior because I just wanted to go to college, and then that again wasn't the right mindset. Like I should have played junior a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have any. Oh well, I guess there was one time. So, one of the teams I went to, and I broke all the sticks I had broke, and I was very adamant that I didn't want to have to buy my sticks because I was a starting goalie. I was playing really well. Like the team should buy me sticks. That was my mindset. And so I broke a stick in warm up and I didn't have sticks. So I had to use my goalie partner stick. And at the time I was probably about 6'2"-ish. My goalie partner was probably about 5'7". So did not play very well. Got pulled.
Did you get it off the stick in the middle of the skate?
Oh yeah, I did. Oh yeah, that made it way worse. And then so when I told the coach, I said, either I have 3 new sticks in my stall on Monday's practice, or I'm just not showing up. I got 3 new sticks. Not how the way you should handle things, but I was the guy, so I had really kind of pull.
Wow,
I had that kind of pull, and I got those sticks, and they were sick Sherwood sticks.
Nice. Those are my favorite sticks too, actually.
They were. Remember when you can get the simple custom Sherwoods, and they were just like white with the SWD.
Yep, the 950s.
Loud like color and outline you wanted.
That's what I got every year. Got a half dozen of those, and it lasted you. You normally get through about 4 or 5 months on 6 of those. So
yeah, and like for they were only like 150 a stick. Like
I think they were cheaper than that. Honestly,
no reason cheaper. They weren't that much.
Now, Jerry, you can get the new latest Power Stick for like $3.99 Canadian, which is crazy.
That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Hockey's expensive.
Turns out it is. Yeah. Again, this is funny. You lost a story. I had a story. I was going to say one more thing, but I think I think kind of wrapping up the idea of junior. Like I said, these stories are, some of them are fun, some of them are kind of lighthearted, and some of them are, that's just the way it is. But I think I actually have some advice for goalies who were playing junior. I thought we had some advice for them. Some goalies who are trying to play junior, and all kind of different levels of that. So the one thing I wanted to say, and I think this is really important, is depending on where you're playing junior, right? There's so many different levels of junior, and especially in North America. In Canada, we have junior A, B, C. Even within junior A, junior A leagues are pretty different, right? In the US, there's tier 1, 2, 3 junior A, right? So there's all these different kind of layers to it. But I think one of the big things, if you're a younger goalie, if you're a goalie who's not towards their end of their junior career, you're trying to break in, you're playing in maybe a lower league than you want to be, or a league that's not as good as you want to be. Some advice I genuinely have for those goalies and for goalies out there is that your job should be to go in there and treat it pretty seriously, still enjoy yourself, still have fun. But ultimately your goal, if you want to keep playing at the next level, is to spend as little time in those leagues, right? And that doesn't mean you're not going to play there for a year, sometimes 2, but go in there and understand that is part of the mentality, right? Would you agree, Jamie?
No, I agree. And the thing is, junior hockey, it's so fun. I know we only had like negative stories, but it actually is like, it is so much fun, like, especially when you graduate from high school and you don't have to go to school and you can just play hockey. You kind of get that taste of like what it's like to almost be a pro. And it is like, it's so fun. And so I know you only played 1 year at junior. You went to prep school, cake eater. But I
say that? Hold on, what did you say that?
But for someone like a junior veteran as myself, I absolutely loved it, and like some of the stories and the experiences and the things that you can like relate to the other players that kind of go through a similar stories, whether it's like super long hours on the bus or just like the grind and stuff with it. It's like those are the memories that you get, and there's a ton of good ones. The thing is, a lot of the good ones we can't really talk about, but there's just
I think most things are important. Yeah, like I said, most things at the end of the day, like this is again always an important PSAs and caveats here at Goalie Science. Be responsible, be safe for you and your friends always. Like and on right
for your team.
respect. Yeah, respect yourself, respect others, whoever it is. Like be good people at the end of the day. Right? That's an important caveat. And have fun. But yeah, otherwise I was gonna say the other thing too, and this is something that's important too, especially for younger goalies, right? Is be aware that some people that are playing on your team who are older, like the 20, 21-year-olds, some of them are not going to play hockey next year, right? If you're somebody who wants to keep going to the next level, you need to be aware of this, is that some of the older veterans on your team are going to finish their junior careers and they're not going to keep playing hockey at the next level. And so you want to make sure that you're aligning yourself with people who share your same hockey values, right? So especially as goalies, it can sometimes be, you're you're a part of the team in a unique way, right? But don't feel like you need to align yourselves up with just the older guys just because. And I think that's probably something to be aware of too, right? Because at the end of the day, I think every junior team, good ones and bad ones, are going to have some older players who are amazing influences and amazing role models, and they're going to have some who aren't, right? And you don't need to try and impress the ones who aren't the role models you want in your team, and that's just the way it is sometimes.
Yeah, you always want to try to find those athletes that are going to build you up. And if you're an older player, a veteran, like you try to build up those young players, because maybe just because your career is over or whatever doesn't mean that the young guys are. And I think most guys are pretty, and girls are pretty good at that. Again, it's just making sure that you're finding good influences, and that works for everything. I was going to leave you on one final story.
Ooh.
So this one is not a rookie party, but after our rookie party, where I was legally of age to drink alcohol.
Important to note.
Important to note. And I drank a lot of it. I did not feel good the next day. And our head coach knew that we had rookie party. So we did this drill, and it was like the players were all on the hash marks, and the coach would chip in a puck, and it would be a 1-on-0 attack. Then he'd chip in a new puck, and it'd be a 2-on-0 attack. And the chip in a puck, and it'd be a 3-on-0 attack. And the new puck wouldn't get chipped in until either I covered it or the puck was in the net.
No.
I threw up on the ice. I threw up on the ice. So yeah, that's good, but it is what it is, and that's what happens when you have a rookie party.
Maybe this guy. My story is not nearly as good as yours, but this reminded me of something I completely forgot about. Michael Jordan's flu game, the infamous flu game?
Yeah, I reference it all the time whenever I have the slightest head cold.
Well, there also comes a time, the Ben Zernick St. Catherine's Falcons flu game, where I showed up to the rink sick, being like, oh, thank God the other goalie's playing today. Like, I don't have to go in. We're fine. You're going to get through this. And like, I was like, I don't know if I had the flu. I was definitely not feeling like I was, the cold shakes and not doing too good. I was like, I'll just sit on the bench. I'll be all right. I show up to the rink and he's not there. Apparently he's sick too, to the point that he didn't show up.
Well, it's a good thing you showed up.
It's a good thing I showed up and no one told me. And so we have the U16 goalie up with us, who was a really, really, really good goalie. He ended up playing in the OHL a little bit. And so like we were fine. You know what I mean? But I get onto the ice and we're not playing a particularly strong team at the time. And so we're expected to win, but big. Jamie, did I let in the first two shots of that game?
I bet you did.
Sure did. Down 2-0, 3 minutes into the game. And I'm sitting there sweating for a bunch of reasons at this point now. And they were like not great goals. I think at one point I tried a blocker side VH.
Yeah, ever do a blocker side VH? Everyone knows that.
Well, you know what? Flu game Ben didn't. So I think the guy came out of the corner. I went into a VH and he faked high and then tucked it 5-hole, and I just peeled it right out of the net. And so we're down 2-0, and I'm like, this could not be worse. Like, I feel absolutely terrible, and now we're losing. my team proceeded to score 18 straight goals.
You won 18-3.
We won 18-2. But in the second period, I threw up in the corner. so going out for a little skate, and it just came out of nowhere. And I was like,
Hey, man,
and so
if you're sick, you got to get it out of you.
So I think it might have been 17, but yeah, we scored like 17 or 18 straight goals in junior hockey. And I didn't play the third period, and I think my stat line ended up like 11 of 13.
That's actually insane that you guys scored that many goals. I also remembered what that story was, what I was talking about. So I went to a goalie camp with a goalie, and what he had done was, he was wearing a brown chest protector, and those were sick chest protectors, by the way.
Yeah,
back when, like, I don't know if brown still exists, but
might not.
They were kind of like, think of it, if you don't know, they were like kind of like the Koneskis of chest protectors today. Like, only the coolest guys had brown, like Bobrovsky had a brown. It was sick.
I think they only did custom orders towards the
end. Like only custom orders, and they had pads and stuff, but no one really wore the pads. It was just chest protectors, and
pants.
Oh yeah, and pants. The pants are pretty good. And so what he did to help reduce rebounds popping off of his chest, he had taken memory foam, like 2 or 3 inch memory foam, and cut it in the triangle and put it over his sternum, and so it would absorb it off that. And we ended up playing against him, and we ended up winning the game. But in my brain, I had said if we were going to lose, if we were losing, I was going to tell the refs that he was cheating and getting kicked out of the game, because I knew that. And actually, when it comes to cheating in junior hockey, did.
Don't do it. Oh gosh. Oh boy.
Oh, I did.
Don't do it. I didn't cheat. I want that.
Don't do it. Okay, so I did in 2 ways. When I went for the BCHL to the OJ, the BCHL didn't require you to wear a neck guard, and I didn't like wearing a neck guard. I did later on in my career, but in junior, I was wearing I always wore a dangler, so I didn't want the neck guard. So what I had my dad do was, what we did was we took an old neck guard just so it had that little the nail
line,
the nail logo that said it was like certified, and sewed it the tiniest bit over the collar of my chest protector. And so if a rep looked, I had it. And there was a few times where teams were like, he does not wear a neck guard, and I'd be like, look, I got one. But I was wearing a Reebok Premier 2 chest protector, the gray one. And I didn't like the way the shoulders sat. So
I remember this.
I might have been your old chest protector.
It was.
It was. Yeah, it was your old chest protector. And I cut off the shoulder floaters, and we taped them on top of my shoulder floaters. So my shoulders, there's got to be a photo somewhere. My shoulder floaters were absolutely massive.
They were ears. They were like
in my ears, like just like a prime JS Jaguar when he had the wood blocks keeping his chest protector up. But yeah, I had double shoulder floaters in junior hockey. Actually, I was drafted to the NHL wearing double shoulder floaters. Should I have been drafted? I don't know. I was bending the rules quite a bit. Although I don't think the rules were there were no rules really at that time, I don't think, when it came to chest protector dimensions. Like that's like a pro only thing, you know?
I have never, in any circumstance, like in junior hockey, would imagine that a ref had the ability to evaluate goaltending equipment size. Like that just feels like such an abstract thing to put on a referee in junior hocky. Like I'm sure
neck guard for sure.
That's fine, but I mean, look, I didn't wear a neck guard at all. This is the other story. I didn't wear a neck guard at all. So I wore no neck guard and I wore no dang. Which this is a PSA to everyone. You should probably wear both, honestly. And I would recommend.
I'm a big dangler guy.
Yeah, I am now. And I would also recommend if you're not wearing a dangler, you have to be wearing essentially like a memory foam or Kevlar neck guard. Like there's no if and or buts. Don't be like me in junior.
The Kova makes good ones.
Yeah, I have your old neck guard. Or I have your old neck guard still. I have a Maltese that you gave me actually.
Oh yeah, because Maltese. I didn't like the Maltese, and I did remember giving that to you.
Yeah, I like that. I wore it in college. But I remember in junior I wasn't wearing anything. And we were doing like a one-on-one drill, and like our forward walked over in like probably like high slot, and it's a one-on-one drill, so our defenseman's kind of just reaching, and like at the last second, our shoot forward releases it, and the last second, the D-man just like sticks his stick out, probably like 6 feet from the puck release. So you pick up one release, and then it hits a stick. And I remember it coming straight into my throat, like dead Adam's apple, straight. All you heard was this dull thud. And then all of a sudden I can't breathe. Like I can't breathe at all. No air is entering my nose. Like no air is going into my lungs. And I like skate to the bench. And Jamie and I played for the same coach. And he was great in this situation, but we played with the same coach. And I have never seen him like scared before. He was very intense, like a very, very intense coach and very passionate, but I never seen him scared. And like the look on his face as I yard sailed my hands, my gloves, and just like skated to the bench. So I was like, we're gonna have to call the ambulance. Like I'm getting off. Yeah, like I'm dead. This is the end of my life. But within like, I don't know, 2 minutes, like I'm pretty sure I just turned completely pale. Like I was like blacking out, like could not get air in. And you know, my throat eventually, I guess, kind of opened back up or something. But that's my PSA. This is the safety PSA.
Safety PSA. Wear a neck guard or dangler.
Wear a dangler.
Or
yeah, like just
ideally both.
Yeah, I really don't. To anyone who says that they can't see with a dangler on, you're not wearing.
It's not. I talk to kids
You're
all
not
the
wearing
time. It's not the it's the style. They're like, it looks bad. I'm like, maybe, but also like you can play with so much more freedom, not having to drop your chin. Also, like dropping your chin ruins your vision. So you see a lot of goalies that don't wear danglers have horrible tracking because they just drop their chin to protect themselves rather than watching the puck. But anyways, I digress. Okay, Ben, we've got long enough. Any final stories that you have to throw out before we wrap up this pod?
No, I'm going to double down on what I said before, which I think is the least fun part of this in terms of like fun stuff. But be good people. Be safe and support people. If you're getting ready to play junior or playing junior, you've played junior, whatever it sounds like, right? Just remember that. That's one of the big things. Be a good person, support people, be safe. That includes on the ice, off the ice, all that jazz. Jamie?
Ben covered it. Thanks for listening, watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. Let us know what you think of the new intro. Hopefully you like it. If you want us to change it, it's probably not going to because it takes a lot of time to edit these things. And because I do all the editing work myself, I'll take all the responsibility, but I also will take all the praise. So thanks everyone for listening. We'll see everybody next week.
Until next time.